I get the debate, and I want to talk about this with you because this has got to be like a sore subject. This is like the third rail, right? And you know what? My wife's side, my wife's mom and dad, they're front row, 7:30 a.m. Catholic Mass people. And my wife, God bless her, she gets, the whole thing. And I have some issues with the Catholic Church right now, as I can attest to. If you heard me talk about on the show, I'm trying to work out. I don't know if I ever will, but I have a difficulty doing it based on what's happening in the rest of the world. And I think, there are a lot of families, and there are probably a lot of people listening that want to have that debate, especially with older members of their family, whether you're a college student, whether, a high school student, but most certainly young adults that will go home during the holidays or go visit during the holidays and have to put on that pretense of something they don't believe. And I think that debate is healthy. I'm just curious how you have, if you have addressed that issue, would a billboard like this cause you to have that discussion with members of your family who are religious? Or you just simply go, I'm going to pretend because it's not worth the hassle, which I think most people do. But if you see the billboard on the blog, 700WLW.com, you tell me, is this thing backfiring? Do you want a billboard up that's telling your kids about that the person putting it up doesn't believe in Santa Claus, doesn't believe in Jesus? I sure as hell don't. Can the kids be innocent maybe, for 8 or 9 years? Is that 513-749-7800? Regarding these billboards, the atheist billboards. Stephen Dayton, you're on the Scott Sloan Show. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on, brother?
Show.
Thanks, man.
Hey, I just wanted to, you already made the point, but I just wanted to say, to me, it shows the hypocrisy of these people. They're putting a billboard up about not believing in God, but yet the kid's going to write a letter to Santa.
Well, isn't that what people say? I mean, I get it. I think he's way overthinking, though. Why would you use an image of a kid? Because that is so polarizing. You're just going to upset people, and they're going to shut your message out. Now, he said, we're having discussions, and it's actually good. Well, I don't know so much about that, honestly. I know at first blush, if it's the holidays, Christmas, Santa's coming, I got to go get my stuff together. Like, whoa. Thanks a lot, jackass.
I know. These people, they're so self-centered on their own little message that they're trying to put out, and nothing else matters to them. And it just, kind of makes you sick that everybody kind of, cowers down to these people.
And I don't know if, it goes both ways, though, because what they're doing is exactly like what they're against, and that is a lot of stuff that Christian conservatives do, which some I agree with, some of it I don't agree with. It's like, I bring this point up all the time, and I always get crapped on for it, too. But it's, for example, there's a anti-abortion protest, right? And they have signs of aborted fetuses, which are disgusting and certainly shocking. Yet these are the same people that if, there's a nipple slip during the Super Bowl, Janet Jackson, the first one saying that, that's destroying the country and harming my child. So it's okay to walk around with these images of blood and gore, but you'll go protest a movie that has blood and gore in it. I'm failing to see the connections, like, murdering the doctor because he's an abortion doctor. Well, murder's raw. What? But if that's what you're combating, that kind of contradiction and illogical behavior, you're kind of performing that yourself right now, aren't you? It's a tough decision. I couldn't imagine having that. I'm sure many people have had it or contemplating it, but I think, quite honestly, most people don't like confrontation. Most people don't like drama during the holidays. And so you tend to avoid it because if you're going home or you're going to visit mom and dad, you have to pretend, I go to church. You go to church? You go to church every week? Yeah. Or maybe you do and you're sitting there thinking, I'm just doing it because of peer pressure or this is what I'm supposed to do. And then maybe you have an honest discussion with yourself, some introspection and say, I don't know, why am I doing this? Do I actually believe? Or am I doing it because I don't want to be ostracized from my community? And I think there are a lot of people listening. And sometimes myself, I'll point the finger at me. Where you go, it's not that I don't believe in God. I just, especially when it comes to a lot of the organized religion, what are we doing here? And, if this spurs some of that discussion, I think that's healthy. I just don't know if it's going to because it's easier to avoid rather than have that discussion. It's like, look, I only got to do this twice a year. It's not that I'll fake it for a little while longer. I think that's probably most people just trying to live their life. Quickly, before I get to news here, Jason on a cell, make it quick. What do you got?
Well, I just don't understand why it's so important to this group to put billboards up and comparing Santa Claus to God. And why is it so important to them that I not believe in God? Why is that important?
For the same reason I think a lot of Christians believe it's important that you do believe in God. I mean, it's like this way. For example, if I say, I didn't go to church, my in-laws get all upset. I didn't go to Mass this week. It's like, you don't get extra points if I go to Mass. You don't get like a commission on me going. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get that, but and the thing is, we don't want organized religion, but the whole thing is they're having a convention April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Memphis, and this billboard at the bottom has an ad. So basically, you're promoting, what? You're essentially establishing an anti-religion religion, aren't you?
That's exactly what it is. It's as fanatical as the right-wingers, if you will. And listen, we live in a free country. And if I want to believe that there's a God and an afterlife, and you know what, if that enhances my life and if that makes me happy, then it's my right to believe so. If I don't want to believe in God, and I'm sure that there isn't a God, well, then that's my right as well.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful. I mean, that's what we're fighting for in the Middle East and elsewhere, is because of that extreme view, that one world view, where ISIS wants basically everyone to be Muslim. And I mean, this is a great example of that, because this billboard certainly would be going up in the countries we're fighting in right now. But that doesn't. The fact that you got a picture of a kid up there and says, "All I want for Christmas is skip church. I'm too old for fairy tales," clearly using the image of a child here. And I look at that and go, that's not like whether or not I'm debating whether God exists or not. You know what I'm doing? I look at that billboard. I'm going, it's Christmas. Thanks a lot, a-hole. That's what I'm doing. 513-749-7000, Scott Sloan Show, 700 W. Sloaney on the big one, 700 WLW. Back half of the week, it's all good. And then we got, a couple more weeks before Christmas, man. It is flying by. Coming up at, about 11 o'clock news update, of course, and then 11:06. Got a guy that says we need to pay teachers more money, like $100,000. What? How much more? How much would your property taxes go up if that were the case? Yeah, we'll talk to him about that in just about 25 minutes here on 700 WLW and the Scott Sloan Show. So the billboard, if you have not seen it, is up on my blog, 700WLW.com. The atheists put this thing up trying to get people to their convention in Memphis. And I'm open-minded to the atheist argument and debate, and like to consider myself a fairly open-minded kind of guy. Call him as I see him kind of dude, right? Been talking about the NYPD choke down today and comparing and contrasting that to Ferguson. I think they're two entirely different things, although the outcome is similar. And I think you got a good case for re-examining police policies and interactions based in New York, but not Ferguson. So my mind is not made up ahead of time about it. I'm not predisposed to kind of group thinking on this. I see this and go, yeah, I'm maybe a guy you're trying to target here with having the conversation with your parents or family members about church and going to church. And to me, my belief is I believe in God. I think church is kind of jacked up. I think it's almost like a country club, quite honestly. And a lot of people go just to be seen by other people, and that's not why you go to church. But I don't see this billboard as engaging in the debate about whether or not God exists or church in that matter. To me, it's about propriety. It's about using the image of a kid who's writing a letter to Santa saying, I'm too old for fairy tales, skip church. Look, you're an 8-year-old kid. You're a 7-year-old. Guess what? You go where you're kicked when you're that age. It's kind of like working here. I go where I'm kicked. Same when you're a kid. It's like, I'm the parent telling you what you're doing. When you get older, you make your own decisions up. But right now, I'm the boss. Applesauce. 513-749-7000. 800 the big one, and pound 700 AT&T. Hey, Kathleen at Adams County, you're on the big one. Thanks for listening. What's up?
Hey, Sloaney. I just wanted to let you know that if my 5-year-old tells me he doesn't want to go to church, there's not going to be any discussion. I'm going to say you're going.
Yeah, why am I having a discussion and debate about such things with a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kid?
Exactly. They know what you teach them.
Right. And, later in life, what happens is this, is you rebel and you don't do what mom and dad want you to do when you're a teenager. And then I think some point later in life, you come full circle.
There you go.
But, again, granted, having a debate with a college student or someone who is old enough to have the reason to be able to debate you in a family, I think that's healthy. Kids should ask questions of stuff. It might do me all the time. They got a lot of me in it, which is horrible if you're me. But, you know what I'm saying? But when you're that young, that's not the time to be having the debate about Santa. Can you just let them be Santa and Jesus? Can you just let them be kids for like 10 more minutes? Would that be okay with the rest of the world?
Exactly. And there aren't any 12 or 13-year-olds writing letters to Santa.
Right. And so why use this? If you're targeting people who are 13 or college students, that's awesome. That's who you should be targeting. But why then use the image of a little kid? Why not use something like some kid coming home from school going, oh, got to get in the car and go to mass again, and I don't believe in God. Target those people.
Exactly. I'm with you, Sloan.
All right, I got you. I thought I was the only one making sense here, but Kathleen's on board on that ship, on the SS Common Sense. at 513-749-7000. Dayton we go. Jeff, you're on the big one. Thanks for checking in, man. What do you got?
Morning, Sloaney.
How's
Another perfect example of the religious folks trying to mind control everybody. And what about the freethinker parents whose kids are exposed everywhere they turn to religion and Christianity, and let's push it in the schools and all of that stuff?
Well, I'm trying to figure out exactly where they push in Christianity and
everywhere. Scott, it's like a cancer in this country.
Well, okay,
I don't
but all right.
believe with the atheists, but just worship in church, that's fine. Just leave the rest of us out of it. You want to put it in our laws? They want to put it in the public square every chance they get.
Well, I don't wholly disagree with you on that too. And I think I gave you examples of I think Christians gone wild too. But in the case of Christians putting stuff, okay, so let's say God rest ye many merry gentlemen. That's offensive to you as an atheist?
No, it doesn't, Scott. I'm middle of the road. I'm a secular humanist. Okay. I don't believe or disbelieve, but I just hate being pushed. And that's what this is. That guy who calls in and says it's an affront to his beliefs. No, it's not. Believe what you want. This is a free country and all of that. It's just that.
Well, yeah, it is. And that's what I'm saying. It is a free country, and to invoke this debate, I think, is good. But the form in which they did it, it's disturbing to me as a parent and a parent of one time of young kids where, maybe I don't want to have that debate with my kid. Maybe I don't want to do that right now. And why target someone so young and use that in your illustration in your ad campaign if the goal is to get someone a little bit older where obviously they're past that age. And that's the thing is while the debate is good and I agree with it, the debate's not going to be about whether or not God exists with these billboards. It's going to be the propriety of the billboards and targeting kids. And I don't think it helps atheists, quite honestly.
Well, like I said, I don't have kids, so it's not an issue for me. But I do understand freethinker parents that have to explain to their kids that everywhere they go, there's religious indoctrination, for lack of a better
you have
word.
to, and I think there's a burden there, honestly, that comes with minority groups, in a sense, right? Is that if you are, let's face it, there's way more many believers in God, Catholics, Christians there in this country than there are atheists. And that's, I'm assuming for certainly my life and the foreseeable future, that's the way it's going to be. So you have, I think, a different burden entirely on you if you are a parent of an atheist, or you're an atheist and you're teaching those values or beliefs to your kids, that you're confronted because that is the conventional wisdom. That is the common think. That's the group think. That's mainstream thought. So if you're the fish that's swimming contrary to the mainstream, you're always going to be doing that. Simply because more people believe than you do. So, and then when you put things in public squares and, God and God's the reason for the season, you've already had that discussion with your kid because I'm sure at an early age they're going, hey, all the kids in my class are like, going to church and what's our deal? Whereas if you're already part of that group, to have that, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. The idea here is to attract people who may be on the fence, who are not little kids, but old enough to understand the debate you're trying to frame. You're just not doing it in a good and responsible, a thoughtful way because you're going to wind up upsetting a lot more people who may be on the fence from seeing your point of view. It just clouds the whole thing. It doesn't mean that atheism is horrible and people have their beliefs. It's America. God bless us all. But the issue I have is the fact that now you're acting just like the people that you espouse to hate, which would be the pushy Christians. You're doing the same thing yourself. I don't know how two wrongs make a right, and I'll call a contradiction out when I see it, and this would be one of them. Quickly, regarding the atheist thing, my guess on atheism, and I don't understand the billboard, I really don't, in that I think you're just seeking to upset people who really may even see your point of view, but they see that, and it kind of turns them off to it. At 513-749-7000, 800 the big one, and pound 700 AT&T. How about Valerie on the big one? Val, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, what's up?
Hey, I've been listening and stuff, and the way I look at it, everybody should have their own choice, so let's not push it on them. But you know what? If people don't believe in God or whatever, their choice just makes more room for us that do. I mean, I brought my girls up going to church and all.
Right.
They chose a point when they didn't want to go, and that's fine. But I figure God's everywhere, so we pray at home or whatever, however we want to do it. But it's like, you know what? Let people be people. Don't push anything on them, and more room for us.
It's like anything. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like meat eaters. It's like, hey, you want to be a vegan? Great. It's more turkey for me.